Under other business, first reading of ordinance number 2020-23 to amend section 7854 regarding golf details. And this will be the first reading, and it sets the administration fee for the 3-year golf cart decal. That means it's $5 a year, and that's simply to offset some of the cost. And the penalty has been brought in line with our other ordinances so that it moves to that parking ordinance, okay, which we previously passed. Is there a motion?
I'm going to make a motion we approve the first reading of ordinance number 2020-23 to amend section 7854 regarding golf cart decals.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Before we move ahead, Mr. Dyson, do you have a comment or?
No, ma'am.
All right. All right, and I will call the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item B is a work authorization, number 15, water rate study update with American Engineering Consultants. According to our preliminary numbers and the profit ratio, which we're required to carry by our bond covenants, is tracking with the current rate study predictions. Therefore, this is being withdrawn from consideration. And since we deferred it last month, that should clear that off our calendar. Okay. The third item, item C, is the plantation course at Edisto. After evaluating the cost of placing the filter on the town outflow or partnering with the plantation course at Edisto to place a filter on the outflow to the spray heads, we recommend, and this is from staff, council approve the cost sharing through a public-private partnership with the plantation course at Edisto at a cost of $18,560 to be paid from sewer R&R, which has a balance of $232,000, and approve entering into an agreement regarding maintenance and any future obligations regarding the filter. If we install the Foster filter on the town's outflow to the line pump, it would cost us $33,200 and would not resolve the issue of clogged spray heads from the line pond located at the golf course. So this is more financially feasible and it addresses all problems. Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the public-private partnership with plantation course at Edisto at a cost of $18,560 to be paid from the sewer R&R.
Is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion second on the floor. I see Mr. Barber here. Did you have a comment, Mr. Barber?
No, ma'am. Just here in case you guys had any questions.
Okay, I think staff has done an admirable job with you and with your staff in seeking an equitable solution. Any comments from council? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item D, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Storm Reduction Project. Request council rescind the withdrawal while the town negotiates with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and legislators on resolving issues that led to the withdrawal. When the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers was notified of council's intent to withdraw from the project, they asked if the town would meet with them. During the initial meeting, the town provided 3 issues that led to the withdrawal from the project. The 3 issues in question are easement language, one which is changed perpetual to deauthorized by Congress. 2 was the public use statement. And 3 was in-kind consideration of 2017 extensions. During preliminary meetings, they have approved the requested perpetual easement language revision and suggested council address the public use language through ordinance revisions. In-kind consideration of the money is still under negotiation, and the town has sought congressional assistance dealing with this issue. If the town can get in-kind consideration for the growing extensions, most of the town's match for the project would be met. So the request that we rescind the agreement while we work through issues. Is there a motion?
I move that we rescind the withdrawal that we voted on while the town negotiated the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers with legislators on resolving these issues.
Is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion, discussion. Hearing none, I'll call the vote.
I was going to say, I think after talking to the Corps of Engineers on this project, I think to rescind this, to bring this back on the table is a smart thing to do for the beach. So I think we need to leave all avenues open as we move through this. It's not going to cost us anything. So I think it's a good move.
Good. Okay, Mr. Kaiser.
Same.
Okay.
I think
Mayor, can I ask a question? Do y'all want me to go ahead and send a formal request asking for that language to be changed on the easement, the perpetual?
Please. Okay, that would follow that especially since we agreed with steps 1 and 2, and we're just now debating the money, which is the biggie, the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Any other questions from council?
Money's always big.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Did we call a vote? I've lost track.
I don't need it.
All right, then I will call the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you guys for keeping me on track. All right, under new business, we have an irrevocable resignation of Councilwoman Susan Hornsby. Councilwoman Susan Hornsby has tendered her irrevocable resignation effective September 30th, 2020. There will be a special election December 15th, 2020 to fill the unexpired term through November 2nd, 2021. And then the person will have to run again in the fall because that would be the normal vacancy time. So I've done it. I don't think it's something you particularly want to do is have to run 2 campaigns within a year. So anyway, that's for the public information. And Councilman Moore, I think we're all going to really notice the vacancy, the removal of Councilwoman Hornsby. Would you like to say anything to her?
Well, I'll be honest, I wouldn't be here for Susan did. When we first moved here, I told you I wouldn't get through this. We first moved here, they adopted us, basically. And they've been very good friends to us. And she's the reason that she's the one that talked me into running this. I told her I was too new, that nobody knew me. And she says, it'll be okay. And the first thing I asked of the mayor when I got elected was, I want to sit beside Susan. Remember? Because I don't think there's been a public servant that I've ever dealt with than Susan Hornsby. Smart, capable, level-headed. She doesn't get worked up about things, and she thinks everything through, and she is a guide for me, And she and Newton both have been very good friends with Janice and I since we moved to Virginia. So she will be both of them.
I think we can ditto that, Council.
The same, Crawford and I got on council at the same time, and when she came to see if I wanted to run and encourage me to run, I was totally impressed. And I was like, oh my goodness, here's this really Edistonian person coming and asking me, would you be on council? And I said, yes. And so, like I said, she is a true Edistonian, and we are surely going to miss her. Surely going to miss her on council.
Very much so.
Well, I have to tell y'all, when Susan called me to tell me sometime back, it wound up into a sob session. Because not only has she been a contributing, very responsible member of council, she has become a personal friend.
and someone to be admired on many levels, not only professional, but on a personal level. And I wish her all the best in the future, but just so you know, I have threatened her that she is not to leave town without all telephone numbers and forwarding addresses, because we don't intend to lose touch with her. She's meant too much to this community. So, right, so I don't think we need to necessarily accept this. I mean, it's irrevocable. And I think we just needed to give our accolades to someone who's meant so much to the town.
Mayor, if I could, it would be a good idea to make a motion to accept.
All right, we'll take your advice, council. Is there a motion to accept the irrevocable resignation of Councilwoman Susan Hornsby?
I make a motion that we accept the irrevocable resignation of Councilwoman Susan Hornsby.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, although I think none of us would like to have to do that. Here, no further comments. I'll call the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, item B. Emergency Ordinance 2020-26, COVID-19 request. Request council consideration and approval of emergency ordinance 2020-26 related to the continuance of the mask requirement. This ordinance extends the mask requirement for 60 days. This extension is only on an emergency basis while we monitor the situation, and should not be considered a permanent ordinance of the town. So it's simply to deal with emergency situation. Is there a motion?
I move we approve the emergency ordinance 2020-26 COVID-19.
Second.
I have a motion, a second discussion. Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Now that we are not using the watershed, or affectionately known as the watering hole, the volunteer fire department with Wendy Smith as Griffin, I'm sorry, is the one I didn't confuse you with Pete Ryan. Anyway, Wendy Griffin, who's a member of the volunteer fire department, has requested that council approve their utilization of the old watershed for the purpose of selling T-shirts and other products, as well as utilizing it as a bulletin board. They would also like to name the building with council approval of the name. And Wendy Griffin, I'd like to call you before we vote to any comments or information further that we need to have.
That's just somewhere for us to sell the T-shirts. We haven't had anywhere else to go. We haven't been able to do anything with our T-shirts, and they're a big seller on the island. And due to COVID, we can't really go to parking lots and sell them and cause people just to gather around. So we were just wanting to announce a certain day of the week to sell them and clean up the watershed and get the bulletin board back up and running. I think a lot of people go there to look at stuff, to find certain things on the island and the businesses, lost and found, and just what it was. And we would love to paint it and fix it up and clean it up to council's approval. And then the name that we will come back with the name. I wanted to present it before the volunteers so they could come up with the name. And then we would bring it back to y'all for approval of the name of the watershed.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve the volunteer fire department's request with the watershed.
Is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion, second. I have two requests that not to name the building after a person, living or deceased, and maintenance in the future. So with those two considerations, I have a motion and a second. The discussion. Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item D. Resolution number 2020-24, safety policy. This resolution supports compliance with federal and state regulations. Is there a motion?
Move to approve resolution number 2020-24 on the safety policy.
Second.
I have a motion second on the floor. Discussion. Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item E, the deer study.
We don't have the results, so we can defer that to next
All
month.
right, and the deer study needs to be deferred since we do not have the results at this time. Is there a motion to defer?
Move to defer.
Second.
I have a motion second to defer. Call the vote. All those in favor of deferring the deer study results, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item F, lights emitting diode, which is LED, lighting agreement. This agreement provides Dominion Energy of South Carolina will install 47 Cooper LED 210 turtle-friendly light fixtures with photo control, remote monitoring, and diagnostics for this project along Palmetto Boulevard. This will increase our monthly street lighting charge of $189 per month for 3 years. And the United States Department of the Interior Fish and Wildlife Service, Edison Beach Sea Turtle Lighting Project grant for $50,000 will offset a portion of the cost for 3 years. Is there a motion?
Move that we approve the light emitting diode lighting agreement with Dominion Energy.
Is there- I have a motion and a second. Councilman Moore, make a second quickly. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Under committee vacancies, for the Water and Sewer Committee, there's 1 vacancy. For the Municipal Elections Commission, there's 1 vacancy. Because we do not have applications or viable candidates at this point, last month you approved to advertise. We'll just keep advertising until someone has filled that slot. If there's no objection from council, then we will move past that. Public comment, Ms. Harris.
I have a comment submitted online by Virginia Stevenson of 544 Aristo Ridge in Aristo Beach. Her comments are, if what was written in the emergency ordinance is true, that viral infections continue to increase, is it not clearly evident after all these months of mandating masks that masks do not decrease viral infections? Do you know about Sweden? No masks, long-term low infection rates, no deaths. We can't control hurricanes, ocean tides, or viruses. We never have, and most likely we never will.
For Ms. Stevenson, I have to say, on behalf of council, that no one knows exactly the patterns or the behavior of this COVID. No one can say with certainty exactly what's going to happen. And it is utmost priority for the safety of our citizens and visitors to lean toward vigilance and use the best known recommendations by health professionals. So until that is shown by our health professionals to be negative, we will keep extending our mask ordinance and protecting our citizens of this time. Does council have anything to weigh in on?
Dr. for comments.
Next, Ms. Harvey.
That's all.
All right. Executive session. The reports, typically we have lately to decrease the amount of time we spend here. They have been submitted in writing and will be available in the minutes of the meeting. So we won't discuss those at this time. That's trying to limit our exposure. Under executive session, we have receipt of legal advice for the legal advice relates to a pending, threatened, or potential claim or other matters covered by the attorney-client privilege related to Wharton Smith change order. South Carolina Code 30-4-70A2. Item B is receipt of legal advice where the legal advice relates to a pending, threatened, or potential claim or other matters covered by the attorney-client privilege related to the Sea Island Elevator LLC versus Patrick Brown and Town of Edisto Beach, South Carolina Code 30-4-70A2. Upon returning to open session, action may be taken by the council on items discussed in the executive session. Is there a motion?
We will go into executive session for these two items.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. I'll call the vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? We're in an executive session.
She would have my ear on.
Okay, audio is on.
I need a motion from council and a second to be able to return from executive session to open session. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second discussion. Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of returning to public session, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we will deal with these two matters in order that they're stated. First one will be brought to your attention by Councilman Moore. You can make the motion, please.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize payment of $125,000 to satisfy the Wharton Smith change of order and direct the mayor and administrator with the assistance of legal counsel to draft and execute the necessary documents.
Second.
I have a motion, second discussion. I will make the comment that there was concern in the community. This could affect their water rates. It will not. So I want to correct that misinformation that's going around. Having a motion and a second, is there further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? On item B, Councilman Kaiser has those particulars and will make the motion.
I'd like to make a motion to hire Attorney Mitchell Griffin to represent the town in Patrick Brown and Sea Island elevator case. Motion to authorize the administration and town attorney to obtain advice as to the municipal association denying insurance coverage for the Sea Island elevator case.
Second.
I have a motion, second on the floor discussion. Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? At this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn unless there's some objection from council.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. I'll call the vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned.